What if the chaos in your life isn't out there, but within your own mind? Every day, we're pulled by distractions, overwhelmed by emotions, and shaken by things far beyond our control. But 2,000 years ago, the Stoics taught something radical. You may not control the world, but you can always control your response to it. In this video, we'll explore 15 timeless Stoic lessons that will reshape the way you think, live, and lead your life. These aren't just quotes from dead philosophers. They are tools. Tools to calm your storms, sharpen your focus, and find peace in the noise. So take a deep breath, slow down, and listen carefully. Because once you understand these lessons, you won't see life the same way again. Lesson 1, practice patience. You never know the whole story. We often find ourselves quick to judge others, whether it's a stranger's behavior, a friend's silence, or a colleague's mistake. But behind every action is a story we do not see. People carry invisible battles, grief, trauma, heartbreak, or worries they cannot put into words. We may only catch a glimpse of their surface, but beneath that lies a sea of experiences we are not privy to. The wise do not rush to judgment. They pause, they listen, they understand that perception is limited and compassion is expansive. When we choose patience over assumption, empathy over anger, we create space for understanding. We grow not only more tolerant, but also more aware of our own limitations. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does mean replacing immediate condemnation with curiosity. Why might someone act this way? What don't I know about their day, their life, or their pain? Just asking these questions shifts your mindset from criticism to compassion. Life becomes gentler when we realize we don't always have to label everything as right or wrong. Some things simply are. And with time, silence, and empathy, what's misunderstood becomes clear, or sometimes irrelevant. The point is, understanding others starts with humility, and in that humility, we find peace. Lesson 2, life is asking you a question. Will you answer? Most people go through life searching for the meaning of it all, asking, what's the purpose of my life? But what if we've been asking the wrong question? According to the wisdom of Viktor Frankl, life isn't something to question. It's something that questions you. Every moment, every hardship, every win is life presenting you a choice. Will you respond with responsibility? Will you rise to the occasion or retreat into fear? Life doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. It asks us to show up, to answer not with words, but with how we live. In this sense, your life isn't a problem to solve. It's a message you're writing with your choices, your actions, your relationships. And like any message, it carries weight. It touches others. It matters. So instead of endlessly chasing a singular purpose, realize that meaning is made, not found. It's created each day in how you treat others, how you carry yourself in silence, and how you respond when no one's watching. We are all being questioned by life, quietly, persistently. Your answer doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real. And the most powerful answer is to live with integrity, love, and a sense of responsibility for the space you occupy in the world. Love is the ultimate answer. In the search for meaning, we often overlook the most profound truth. Love is the answer, not the romantic, fleeting kind, but the deep, unwavering love that connects us to others and gives purpose to our suffering. In the darkest moments, when all hope seems lost, it is love that pulls us through. Whether it's love for a person, a memory, a cause, or simply for life itself, this emotion becomes our anchor. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, discovered this truth in the most brutal conditions imaginable. Amid starvation, violence, and despair, he realized that man could survive if he held on to love. He imagined his wife's face while walking through freezing labor camps, And in that mental picture, he found strength. To love deeply is to affirm life, even when life seems unbearable. Love turns pain into purpose and loneliness into connection. It allows us to see the sacred in the everyday, to find beauty in a gesture, a glance, or even silence. It's not about being loved in return. True love gives without demanding. It simply is, and in being it redeems. When we love others, we transcend ourselves. When we live with love, we respond to life's greatest question with courage. Let love guide your decisions, temper your anger, and deepen your empathy. Let it remind you of what truly matters. Because when all else is stripped away, wealth, status, power, it is love that remains. It is love that saves. Question number 4. Real strength begins in the mind. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you interpret and respond to it. That's the heart of Stoic wisdom and one of life's most empowering truths. True strength doesn't come from physical power. It begins in the mind. When you realize that external events are neutral and that you assign them meaning, everything changes. That missed promotion, the breakup, the traffic jam, they're not inherently bad. It's your judgment that paints them with suffering. And the beautiful part? You can change that judgment at any moment. Strength isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about recognizing it, pausing, and choosing how to respond. It's the quiet decision to stay calm in the face of chaos, to forgive instead of retaliate, to persevere rather than collapse. That is real power. We spend so much energy trying to change things beyond our control, other people's opinions, the past, the weather. But the only territory we ever truly own is our mind. And that is where peace begins. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your beliefs form your boundaries. Train your mind as you would train your body, patiently, persistently, and with compassion. Because the mind, when disciplined, becomes your strongest ally. But when left untamed, it becomes your greatest enemy. So if you seek strength, look within. That's where resilience lives. That's where freedom begins. Lesson 5. You own the space between stimulus and response. There is a moment, small, often invisible, between something that happens to you and your reaction to it. In that moment lies your greatest power, the power to choose your response. It's what separates instinct from intention, chaos from control, reaction from wisdom. This space between stimulus and response is where growth lives. It's where you pause before snapping back at someone. It's where you decide whether to let pain harden you or deepen you. It's the silence before the words, the breath before the decision. Viktor Frankl once said, "In our response lies our growth and our freedom." And it's true. You cannot stop life from throwing storms your way, but you can choose how to sail through them. That choice, that space is what makes you human and what allows you to be free, even in difficult circumstances. The world will always bring challenges, difficult people, unexpected loss, frustrating delays. But no matter how loud the world gets, you always have access to that quiet space inside. That's where resilience is born. Mastering that pause means mastering your life. It allows you to break old patterns, resist impulsive emotions, and act with clarity and grace. It's a practice, but with time, that moment of choice becomes your sanctuary. Lesson 6, don't be a slave to external circumstances. So many people live their lives in chains, chained to what others think, to what they can't control, to events they didn't choose. But the truth is, freedom begins when you stop trying to control everything around you. Let go of what isn't yours to manage. According to Stoic philosophy, life can be divided into two categories: what is within your control and what is not. Your thoughts, your actions, your values, those are yours. Everything else, your reputation, the opinions of others, your body's health, even the weather, is outside your command. Freedom comes from focusing only on your side of the equation. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose how to steer. You can't avoid criticism, but you can control whether it defines you. You can't change the past, but you can shape your response to it. The more energy you spend trying to manage what you can't control, the more powerless you become. But when you narrow your focus to your own mind, your own behavior, your own principles, you become unshakable. Detaching from the illusion of control doesn't make you passive. It makes you wise. It means acting with strength where you can and accepting peace where you cannot. That is the essence of inner power. Lesson 7. Philosophy is the medicine of the soul. We spend our lives rushing to fix external problems, our jobs, our health, our relationships, yet we often neglect the very place where all experience begins, the soul. And philosophy in its truest form is not just an academic subject. It is medicine for the soul. Philosophy teaches us how to live, not just how to think. It shows us how to face pain with purpose, how to love wisely, how to act justly, and how to find peace even when life is full of noise. Like a skilled healer, philosophy doesn't mask symptoms. It goes deep, rooting out the causes of our suffering. It helps us reframe adversity not as punishment, but as a path to growth. It teaches us to question our assumptions, recognize our illusions, and choose what truly matters. It invites us to seek virtue over vanity, meaning over pleasure, and purpose over comfort. The mind, left untrained, can become a chaotic battlefield, full of fears, anxieties, and confusion. But with the tools of philosophy, reason, self-examination, awareness, we can begin to clear that field, to find calm within chaos. True wisdom doesn't come from external success. It comes from the daily practice of self-mastery, of showing up with intention, of asking the hard questions. Who am I? What am I responsible for? What kind of person am I becoming? Let philosophy be your mirror and your compass, not just something you study, but something you live. Lesson 8. Live according to nature and reason. To live well, one must live in harmony with nature, not just the natural world, but our own inner nature, the parts of us that crave meaning, connection, and virtue. The ancients believed that the highest life was one lived according to reason and aligned with the natural order of things. This doesn't mean becoming passive or withdrawing from the world. It means accepting that life has seasons of sorrow, growth, and decline, and flowing with them rather than resisting. It means acting in accordance with truth, not ego, with clarity, not chaos. Living according to nature is realizing that we are part of a whole, not the center of it, that every action ripples outward, that contentment doesn't come from acquiring more, but from desiring less. To live by reason means using our greatest human gift, our ability to reflect, choose, and act with purpose. It's not about perfection, but about progress. Each moment is a chance to respond with wisdom instead of impulse, to build instead of destroy. When you align your thoughts and actions with both nature and reason, life feels less like a struggle and more like a rhythm. You begin to sense what matters and let go of what doesn't. You learn to move with the current, not against it. And that, in the end, is the essence of peace. Lesson 9. Suffering is a call to transformation. When we can no longer change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Suffering, while painful, is not the enemy, it's often the greatest teacher. The storm doesn't just destroy, it reshapes the coastline. And so too, hardship reshapes the soul. The illusion that life should always be pleasant or fair is the root of much of our anguish. But life was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be meaningful. Pain awakens us. It reveals what we truly value. It strips away the unnecessary and brings us face to face with what matters most. Suffering invites us to step beyond comfort and grow into character. It forces us to ask, what am I capable of? What kind of person do I want to be, even in darkness? We don't choose our tragedies, but we do choose our response. That response defines who we become. There is strength in surrender, not to the pain, but to the process. To accept what is, not with passive defeat, but with courageous adaptation. As the philosopher Viktor Frankl wrote, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude. When you embrace suffering as part of the human experience, it stops being punishment and starts becoming a path. Through the fire, you don't emerge the same. You emerge refined. Lesson 10, your mind is your most sacred responsibility. You guard your home, your possessions, your reputation. But do you guard your mind with the same vigilance? Because everything, your peace, your clarity, your life begins and ends there. An untrained mind is vulnerable to every opinion, every insult, every external circumstance. It reacts, it panics, it suffers. But a trained mind is resilient. It observes before acting. It chooses what to believe. It knows when to let go. Every day you're bombarded by noise, news, judgment, fear, distractions. If you're not careful, your mind becomes a battlefield not of your choosing. But here's the truth. You don't have to accept every thought as truth. You can question them. You can reshape them. You can decide which thoughts get to stay. Your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions shape your actions. Your actions shape your life. So what could be more important than mastering the source? Train your mind like you would train your body, with consistency, with intention, and with compassion. Choose what you consume. Choose who you listen to. Choose which thoughts you give power. As Epictetus said, if someone handed your body to a stranger, you'd be outraged. Yet we so often hand over our minds to the opinions of others. Don't just protect your mind. Cultivate it. Make it a place of peace, of strength, of wisdom. That is your sacred responsibility. And in that lies true freedom. Lesson 11. Between stimulus and response lies our power. Life doesn't just happen to us. We are not puppets pulled by strings of circumstance. Between every event and our reaction, there exists a space, a moment of pause. And in that moment lies our greatest human freedom, the power to choose. You might not control what someone says to you. You might not prevent what life throws your way. But you can always control how you respond. That response can either be a reflex born of fear, anger, or insecurity, or a conscious act of strength, grace, and clarity. Most suffering doesn't come from what happens, but from how we interpret it. Two people can face the same challenge. One crumbles, the other rises. The difference isn't the event, it's the mindset. It's what happens in that small, powerful pause before response. This idea is not about suppressing emotions. It's about recognizing them, understanding them, and then choosing what to do with them. You become a master of your inner world when you learn to extend that space, when you make response a deliberate act rather than a reactive one. Practice it in small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when your plans change, when someone disappoints you. Pause, breathe, choose. Because your life is not shaped by what happens. It's shaped by how you respond to what happens. And that choice, made again and again, becomes your destiny. Lesson 12. Time reveals truth. Truth has no need to shout. It doesn't hurry. It doesn't need to prove itself right in the moment. Because truth, like nature, unfolds in its own time. In a world obsessed with instant answers, we forget that some truths are only visible through patience. Time is the great revealer of people's character, of our own intentions, of what truly matters. What sparkles today may fade tomorrow. What feels painful today may make perfect sense years later. Rushing to judgment clouds perception. When we react hastily, we miss the nuance. But when we wait, observe, and let time do its quiet work, we begin to see clearly. What was once confusion becomes clarity. What was once anger transforms into understanding. This is especially true in relationships. A person's real values aren't revealed in words, but in patterns, over time. Loyalty, integrity, kindness, they're not loud. They are consistent. Truth is also revealed in our decisions, not in the excitement of beginning, but in the endurance of commitment, not in declarations of intent, but in the quiet fulfillment of action, day after day. So if you're unsure, wait, let time pass, watch. Truth always rises while deception exhausts itself trying to maintain a mask. Like the ripening of fruit or the blossoming of flowers, truth doesn't rush. And when it arrives, it needs no defense. Lesson 13, mastering the mind is the highest discipline. A chaotic mind leads to a chaotic life. If you cannot control your thoughts will control you. The greatest battles we face are not with the outside world, but within our own minds. We often underestimate the power of our internal dialogue. The quiet voice that says, "You're not enough, this will never work," or "You always fail," can be more destructive than any external enemy. Left unchecked, the mind becomes a breeding ground for fear, comparison, and self-doubt. But the same mind, when trained, becomes your most powerful ally. Mastering the mind is not about silencing every negative thought. It's about recognizing them without becoming them. It's about creating space between you and your thoughts, so you can observe without judgment and choose with clarity. Daily practices like meditation, journaling, or even simply intentional breathing can anchor you. They train your focus and remind you, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. To master your mind is to live with intention. You no longer react to life, you respond with wisdom. You choose peace over panic, patience over impulse, direction over distraction. When you learn to govern your mind, the world loses its power to shake you. And in that stillness, you become unshakable. Lesson 14. Happiness begins where control ends. We often tie our happiness to things we can't fully control, people's opinions, outcomes of our efforts, or the behavior of others. This makes joy conditional, fragile, and fleeting. But true peace begins when we shift our focus from controlling the world to mastering our response to it. You can't force someone to love you. You can't make every plan succeed. You can't predict tomorrow. And yet we exhaust ourselves trying. The result? Anxiety, frustration, and disappointment. The Stoics teach us some things are within our power, our thoughts, choices, and values. Everything else is not. When we let go of trying to manage what's beyond our reach, we reclaim the energy to nurture what's truly ours. This doesn't mean giving up. It means acceptance. It means acting with wisdom and releasing attachment to outcomes. It's a paradox. The less you try to control life, the more free you feel within it. Peace comes not from perfection, but from perspective. You realize that serenity isn't found in having control. It's found in releasing the need for it. When you let go of what doesn't serve you, happiness finds room to grow. Lesson 15, you always have a choice. Even in the darkest moments, when everything feels beyond your control, there is one thing you always possess: your ability to choose. You can choose how you see the world. You can choose to hold on or to let go. You can choose bitterness or growth. You can choose despair or hope. That power, often quiet and invisible, is the root of your freedom. Some may take your possessions, your bomb, even your reputation. But no one can take your inner will unless you surrender it. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of the Holocaust, wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Life will not always be fair, but how you face life, that's your dignity, your responsibility, your legacy. Choosing doesn't mean you'll always get it right. It means you're participating in your own becoming. Every choice, even the smallest, is a brushstroke in the portrait of your character. So when you feel powerless, pause and ask yourself, what can I still choose right now? The answer is your next step forward. You are never completely without power because you are never without choice.